What's up everybody, it's your boy Meatman, and today we are talking about Title Update 3, Omega Update Final Fantasy Collab, and today I have a very special guest with me, Swashbucklet.
A bang and a bang. Thank you for that. Let's go! Let's go! We got pieces. 34 minutes and 25 seconds.
Now, Swashbucklet is a fan of both Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter. And if I'm not mistaken, you were actually a fan of Final Fantasy before you even started playing Monster Hunter. How were you introduced to Monster Hunter?
Hello. Yes, that is correct. I was introduced late last year. My brother liked the game. My sister started playing. And I wanted to fit in. I felt excluded. So I played the game and I thought to myself, you know, I'll give it a shot. Not my type of game. I tend towards JRPGs and story games and games where you can make your own story. But monster hunting, not my thing, right? But I started playing, realized the hunting horn existed, and it was a set of bagpipes, and I was sold. Cue me months later, and I've now played 3 of the games, and we're gonna keep playing. I'm loving it so much. Also, thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you. Now, I know you mentioned you started last year, and you've already played through 3 of the games. But you are a streamer.
I am. So I stream at Swashbucklet on YouTube, playing whatever I fancy. Currently playing Claire Obscure and Monster Hunter, of course, and Final Fantasy 14. So this collab was made for me. It hits all my interests, and I love it.
Perfect. You've also been playing Stories 1 recently, right?
Check it. There's a helpless Aptonoth just over there. Go get him,
Just
Tiger.
kill this Aptonoth. It's helpless. Oh my god. Wow, are we the villains in this game? Are we the problem?
You're excited for Stories 3?
Well, I haven't got to Stories 2 yet, but we're starting Stories 1. I think it's so cute. It's so silly. I am loving it. But I'm excited for 3. It's coming out next spring, right? I think so.
I think it's in March. I think it's next March, yeah.
The goal is to play 1 and 2 before 3. It's so ridiculous and it's so cute, and it's clearly the best Monster Hunter of all the games, actually. It's the most difficult. No, I'm having fun though. I'm having fun.
With that being said, what are your favorite aspects of Monster Hunter? Like, what hooked you? Besides, the hunting horn and Dodogama and all these other things.
Of course. Yeah, Dodogama is my favorite monster, and if you disagree, you're wrong. That's just a fact. What hooked me, and it surprised me because it's usually not what I go for, was how rewarding the fights feel, or taking on a challenge and then beating it. Because I never thought I'd play a game where the game was just about fighting. The game was just about, you see a monster, you beat up the monster, and that's it. And then you rinse and repeat. But there's something very, like I said, satisfying about prepping for a monster, learning how the monster fights, and then going in and duding with your horn and taking it down. So that has been kind of addictive, and blasted through Monster Hunter World as a result. Was determined to beat Elytriana Fatalis, and then rinse and repeat for Rise and now Wilds.
Oh yeah, and you have taken on a lot of the hardest challenges in New Generation Monster Hunter. You've beaten Elytrion solo, you've beaten Fatalis solo, you've beaten the Risen Elders in Sunbreak solo, you've even completed some of the more pinnacle challenges in Sunbreak. And what anomaly rank did you end up, actually?
Ooh, 240 something? I don't remember. I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, I've been doing my best. It's just a lot of fun prepping for it and then learning a fight and taking it down. That's really what it boils down to. I surprised myself by how much I'm loving it.
And your streams are always a blast because you always have like such a great attitude, like even in failure. And boy,
is there a lot of failure.
I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
I'll be the first to say it. Are you kidding me?
Oh, it's overcoming those things that make us fail, though, right? Like that's the fun part, and that's also fun as a viewer too. You know, speaking of that, shameless plug, go sub to Swashbucklet. Super fun to watch. She's up and coming. Actually just unveiled her new VTuber model. She was rocking a a self-made little drawing PNG model that
right.
is really nice.
Right. But A, thank you.
Super fun to watch. I'm a fan. And you know, if she doesn't get 1,000 subs at least after this video comes out, I'm going to actually delete my entire YouTube channel. Okay, guys, I'm actually going to delete my channel. So please.
Yeah, you're on the hook. You're on the hook now. It's official. You heard it here first.
Okay.
But thank you for saying that. That's actually very kind of you. When it comes to Monster Hunter and the streaming, it has been so fun getting advice from people, because people know, you know, Fatalis is hard. They're rooting for you. I'm rooting for me. And there are times when you get a little down because the monster just keeps beating you up. But then you swing back, get back on your feet, figure out, you know, new talismans, new decorations, put together new builds. And that's also what's fun, is that the game invites reinvention and just different experiments to get a fight done. So there's no one way to do it, and I like that a lot as well. That
was one of my favorite things about Monster Hunter as well. Yeah. Back to Title Update 3, back to Omega. What were your surface level impressions of Omega as you were first fighting it, and even as you first got to the Savage version? What were your first impressions of that as a Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter fan?
First impressions, I was super excited. Omega is a super weapon in 14. Omega has its own journey in 14, has its own story arc. So when I saw it was Omega, I could not wait. I also was hoping that Alpha would join. And spoiler alert, Alpha did, and I love that.
Take care of it.
Oh. Oh. I got so excited! It's my boy Alpha! I got so excited. I'm so sorry for actually screaming.
And you were really happy about that too.
I was so happy about it. Alpha's my boy, and if you don't know, you gotta play 14 and you gotta do the Omega raids. But long story short, Alpha kind of saves the day and is just the best little guy. So I could not wait to see Alpha in Wilds. I will say the fight itself I thought was great. It was hard. Omega's meant to be hard. He is a super monster, super weapon, terrifying appropriately.
Now on stream you took crack after crack after crack at Savage Omega, who is this insurmountable challenge to a lot of people in the community right now. And you were taking him on with support hunters, which is, you know, it's a more consistent way to beat Omega once you've learned the fight, but you still have to do 180k damage worth of DPS and management, even with the support hunters, because they scale the HP up to 4-player. You ended up
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
You're good. You ended up beating that. And, you know, that's a testament to your skill, yeah. But also, do you feel like that kind of like failure until you learned, do you feel like that kind of captured a feel of like an actual Final Fantasy 14 raid?
Yes, actually, I didn't think about it that way. But in 14, with big fights, the whole point is that you're learning mechanics, and they have a term progging, which means you're progressing through a fight. I actually have never touched that high-end content until this collab, but that is a concept that's near and dear to, I think, all MMO players, but especially in 14. So the idea is that you are progressing through, and with each run, you are slowly learning more and more of the fight. And that's, I think, always been my approach with Monster Hunter 2. Some of my biggest challenges early when I was first playing, way back when in Worlds, was Furious Rajang. Furious Rajang, and some of those big fights that I just was not ready for. But each time you play, you learn a little bit more about, oh, he moves this way when this happens. Oh, when he raises his fist, you know, Y is going to occur. And then the next time you go in with that knowledge and you just get a little bit better and a little more precise with your dodging and with your hits, and slowly but surely you see progress. I think it would be a different story for me if I was truly making zero progress. I don't think I could keep going and going and going. But that's part of the fun with both 14 and Monster Hunter, is that I can see myself slowly but surely getting a little closer to the end, making it to the next stage. And that's what keeps me hooked.
That's cool. That's awesome. aside from that feeling of progging, the fight itself, the way that Omega moves, the way that it attacks, the like orange like things on the ground that indicate where it's
Orange
gonna
AoE
hit.
of doom.
Yeah, like how do you feel like that captured the feeling of an MMO raid?
I think overall it captured it pretty well with an FF14 fight. You have set roles and you go in and the tank will keep the enemy busy while the healer's healing and the DPS is doing what they can to take it down. And there are a lot of orange areas of doom where you go and learn to avoid and dodge and make sure you're not getting hit. That felt very true to life. It is a little scarier in Monster Hunter thinking about it now because the arena is so big and things are moving so fast and there's a lot more space to work with. That can actually be a little challenging. But I thought given the technical challenges of translating a fight like that, it made sense. I thought it was good. I had fun.
I know you touched on it with the progging and Savage and everything, but the difficulty overall, there's a lot of people, a lot of new fans, a lot of old fans that were frustrated with Savage Omega specifically. Its attack rate, the damage it can do, some of the traps that it can put you in, especially if it, if you block the MRV or you have like the little baby Omegas behind you while you're doing stuff like that, your stamina is just gone, even if you're Lance. And you're just pretty much going to eat, alongside the chip, you're probably going to eat one of the missiles full on. And it's hard to get back up and avoid them. Sacred Pickup is absolutely destroying a lot of people. They're getting picked up into the flames after whenever he's doing double flames. Panto Crater mode is, or as we like to call it, Plankton mode. He just goes absolutely apeshit, especially like that final phase. That final phase is such a run killer. Nursilla DPS check is stopping people up, especially whenever they're getting griefed by the Morgles, getting parapoisoned and everything. Most frustrating
Welcome to
thing.
Final Fantasy. Those Morgles are deadly.
How do you feel about the difficulty? And like, I know you mentioned you felt like you were taking steps forward, but in any ways, did you feel like it was overtuned? Are you concerned about the future in any way? I mean, I've got stuff I got to say afterwards, depending on what your response is. But I just, as someone who's newer to the series, I just want to know like what your impressions would be.
Oh, I definitely want to hear your opinion on this because you are the expert. But as a layman, I would say, well, here's the thing. I'm coming into this series and pretty much every game I play expecting everything to be hard all the time. So for me, I didn't think it was overtuned or overly difficult. I felt it was as difficult as it should be. We are at high rank, the end of not the end, but close to the end of high rank. We're gearing up for the next big expansion for master rank at some point, right? I don't know when exactly, but at some point. So it felt, given the gear we had available to us, like a difficult but fair fight. But I also feel like that's fitting because Savage Omega, like I said, is a super weapon. He's meant to be really brutal. His whole purpose in life is to be strong. And it felt fitting. But I also think if you're going in and you're expecting to beat it without any prep for the fight specifically or any practice, that would be challenging. But if you do get that practice in and prep in, I think it's fair. Tough but fair. I want to hear what you think, though. I'm very curious about your opinion and what people are generally saying.
So I do like that you mentioned, like, it's the end of high rank. It's a pinnacle challenge in high rank. It should be hard. It was tough but fair. Like, I really liked what I was hearing. Just to kind of elucidate some of the talking points in the community right now. So ever since 9-star monsters were rolled out, and even 8-star monsters, the topic of discussion for a lot of people have been things like, well, how in the world are they going to escalate things for master rank if they're already putting master rank health and damage and all this other stuff in high rank? And one thing that a lot of the dogs at the Steakhouse Discord and myself have been discussing has been the notion of like that community sentiment. And it's funny that it's hitting wilds because there have always been high rank pinnacle challenges in Monster Hunter that outshine, like, especially the initial master rank fights. You know, like Extreme Behemoth, Ancient Leshen, Arch-Tempered Nergigante, Arch-Tempered Lunastra. There's not going to... Coral Pookie Pookie is not harder than any of those fights. Ebony Odogaron isn't harder than any of those fights. Fulgur Anjanath isn't harder than any of those fights. Sharish Valda is the final boss of the expansion. And before title updates, that was the final fight, other than the fights that you unlocked in the Guiding Lands that I argued they weren't harder than Sharish Valda. And Sharish Valda wasn't harder than Behemoth or Extreme Behemoth or Ancient Leshen or AT Nerg. Same thing with Rise. Some people would make arguments that Geismagorm was kind of tough, but Geismagorm couldn't one-shot you like Event Magnamalo could. Geismagorm wasn't as oppressive as Advanced Apex Zinogre was, or Advanced Crimson Glove Alstrax. So like there's always been like title, and not even just in a title update format, even in old gen. So like for example, well, someone could say that event quests are similar to how the title updates are because they are post-launch content. For example, Generations, Monster Hunter Generations had a Hyper Silver Rathalos, and you would actually have to fight this to get the Lodestar armor, which was Marth from Fire Emblems.
Is it actually called Hyper?
Yeah, well, it's similar to Tempered. It's a different kind of superpower
that.
state. Yeah, Hyper.
They had this so many words for extra tough, extra angry monsters.
Well, like this specific Silver Rathalos Hyper, its damage was higher even in G rank gear. If you were to go back and fight it, it would hit you as hard as like probably the end G rank fights. Like it hit so hard. And it was a hyper monster, and it was Silver Rathalos, so it was already like by default really difficult and had a lot of health. And that was just an HR event. Monster Hunter 4 had guild quests that went all the way up to guild quest level 100, and they were not an easy feat either. And this is also a game that you weren't able to delay get up, or you weren't able to delay get up to basically, take advantage of lay down iframes. They didn't add delay get up until Monster Hunter 4U. So
I know what that means now.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of different like examples throughout the history of, and not to mention first through third gen games in general, or mostly first and second gen. And they were made in mind without having to scale like into an expansion for G rank. So for example, like Monster Hunter DOS or Monster Hunter 2 DOS was scaled in such a way that the single player village quests were scaled for low rank, and then when you went to the hub, the low rank was basically the equivalent of high rank, and the high rank was the equivalent of G rank to a certain degree. So they did actually create a game that didn't get an expansion that basically covered all bases, which is kind of funny. And so like throughout the course of Monster Hunter history, it's not like the initial master rank fights or G rank fights have been harder than the hardest challenges that were offered previously. Whenever the expansion comes out, all the content you fought in HR, that's not invalidated. It's all part of the experience. And so like if you get like a super boss in high rank, that is meant to be a base game. That's meant to be a full-on game super boss. It's not just some, oh, this is going to dictate what's going to happen in the expansion. As far as like discourse goes, this one's kind of funny because people are kind of scrambling and they're a little worried, but this is par for the course. In fact, I know I'm yapping a lot right now, but in fact...
How dare you here? No,
Extreme Behemoth, even though I would argue in a group it's easier than Savage Omega, Extreme Behemoth, you didn't have the option to have support hunters, and there was never, for Behemoth or Extreme Behemoth, there was only ever 4-player health scaling. There's not a 1-player and a 4-player health scaling like what Savage and regular Omega has. So they were actually kinder this go around with this kind of content. And I think part of that is part of the learning experience. They want to give the ability to solo it, but at the same time, they do want you to fight in a group, to kind of capture that party feel from Final Fantasy.
They certainly want to encourage it. I can definitely see that. Just because it's about having the different roles and working as a team.
Yeah, tanking, all that stuff.
Exactly. I wonder if we can speak from the benefit of, I just played Rise, I just played World. I have the benefit of seeing the big jump from the low rank, high rank to master rank. But in my perspective, this jump from where we were in high rank a few months ago to now, it is definitely tougher and challenging, but it doesn't seem insurmountable just yet. And I imagine when master rank comes with whatever the expansion is, they're gonna take into account that we're getting much better equipment and are gonna be much more prepared for whatever insanity they will throw at us. And I'm sure they will throw at us something.
Yeah, yeah.
But I imagine they'll keep that into account. All that to be said, it makes sense that it would be still tough at the very end before they switch over to master rank.
Yeah, because they got to throw a bone to the challenge, people.
Sure.
And also,
don't we want the challenge? Don't we like the challenge? Isn't that the whole reason we're fighting monsters? Is to take on big things and feel good?
Exactly. And you mentioned earlier, there's so many different ways to beat these monsters, so many different strategies, so many different things to do. And Omega also plays into that. Savage Omega, you could have someone you could literally just have someone with wide range healing the tank over and over again as they grab enmity. And whenever the tank has enmity, most of the time the back legs are wide open. You could easily just have some dual blades smashing them up. Light bowgun's actually been doing really good against Savage Omega. And and also Hunting Horn has had its place in the spotlight, man. Hunting Horn is so good against Savage Omega in general.
I'm loving it. I'm biased, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, so like a lot of different weapons have had new time to shine. Monsters are very matchup dependent and everything, but you do have the opportunity to run support hunters solo. You have the ability to enter a Discord or find some place where you can party up with some other people. There's just so many different avenues for beating challenges like this. You don't have to do everything by yourself solo with a specific weapon every single time. You can mix it up a little bit. And if you're not willing to mix it up a little bit and you fail, hey, that's part of it. You gotta be able to adapt in some way if you want to keep up, or if you want to handle something that directly challenges you in a way that you're uncomfortable with. And
I'm in the latter. I was gonna say I'm in the latter category. I only do Hunting Horn, whether it's good for me or not. And I just try again to doot and bonk. But you get it done eventually. You learn the fight. So it probably is smarter to switch things up and try different matchups. Try different weapons and things, but I don't have that in me. So instead, you just go for the one weapon you got, and that's it.
Hey, as long as you've got the tenacity for it. As long as you got the tenacity.
I'm built different, clearly.
Clearly. Speaking of the difficulty and the fight and everything, Final Fantasy XIV got that Guardian ARKVELD raid. And I know you mentioned you participated in that, and you also did the harder version. What did you think about that? Did they capture Monster Hunter?
Right, so in FF14, they brought in Guardian ARKVELD. That was the big switch up. I thought it was captured pretty well. It's a tough fight, even at the normal trial level. You're with 8 people, 2 tanks, 2 healers, 4 DPS. It's a big team effort, but even that one was done fairly well. Usually in Final Fantasy, they will fully telegraph in writing what the next attack is going to be. So you know how in the Savage Omega fight, you see on the screen it pops up, starboard, larboard, exactly what's happening. So that's usually a thing, but they got rid of that in the collab in FF14. So that may have been taking a little bit of getting used to, but overall it's a fun fight. It's tough. Guardian ARKVELD feels appropriately scary. And then in the extreme trial mode, you have to actually memorize exactly the rotation and steps that it's going to take to try and take you down. So for example, this is my first extreme trial. I probably shouldn't have started with this one as my very first one. Everybody's happening. Is this enough? Is this enough? Oh my god, is this enough? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's go, Guardians. Fade, we did it. This was my first extreme trial. Let's go. but I received a 19-page PowerPoint presentation
Holy
to learn
moly.
each step of the fight. At this stage, he's gonna raise his arm and do this. At this stage, he's gonna cleave in the middle. At this stage, we all need to be on different spots on the map. And it's wild. It is very, it's challenging, but a lot of fun.
One could even say it's Monster Hunter wild.
It really is. But I will say it's, you know what, I know that in Savage Omega, there's been some, it's kind of hard to play with random people right now if everyone has different levels of understanding of how the fight goes. It's even more difficult at the raid level, at the trial level, because of how many steps there are and how many very specific places everyone needs to be in a very specific order at every turn of the fight. So I would say it's even more challenging on that front, but still, similar principles apply. You learn the fight, you prep, you practice, you prog. Now that we know what progging is, we prog together, make a little more progress each time. And I thought it was well done.
Sweet. Okay. Now, on to something that's also been kind of a hot button topic, and I know you have some feelings on it as well. Do you feel like the rewards were sufficient for this collaboration on both sides?
Overall, I like the rewards. Let's be clear. I'm just saying as a Final Fantasy fan, the fact that Alpha and Omega aren't roaming the world and exploring the way they're meant to is upsetting. And I want my money back. No, I'm kidding. But I do feel like that was a prime opportunity for something more with Alpha. I love Alpha so much. And they just went back. They just effed off back home after the fight, leaving us in the lurch. And that's so rude of them. Also, only 3 weapons? Really? I played the one singular weapon. The one weapon, I didn't get anything. No hunting horn, no love. So I would have liked it if there were other weapons. That would have been really nice, I'll be honest. And I'm possibly biased because I play hunting horn. But it just feels like that could have been a fun thing. Something more for that. I will say though, the glam, the layered armor, pretty good. Omega, oh no, they're hot. Gotta love the glam. Do you know where that's from?
The glam? Mm-hmm. Like the term glam
those
or
outfits,
the actual outfits?
Those outfits, those specific outfits.
They're from Final Fantasy 14, aren't they?
Right, but so in case you don't know.
Oh, whenever they turn into male and female.
Yeah, they get
versions.
really hot. Omega out of nowhere in the middle of the raid in their final form just becomes super hot. It becomes a super hot Nine girl. And that's your last fight. And it's wild. It is buck wild. So that's why they look so beautiful and the outfits look gorgeous. But that's where that's from. I kind of wish in the Savage Omega fight, Omega just becomes hot people. And then we just fight a giant version of hot people. That would have made my day. But they did not do that. The cowards, the absolute cowardice.
That's so funny.
But that's where that's from. So I do like those. That's very nice. And everyone's rocking the outfits and looking super good. I'll give them that.
What about the bell armor looks really good too. What do you think about like the pictomancies and everything and being added in?
Oh, I think the pictomancy is fun. The cooldown period, or not cooldown period, but the amount of time it takes to gear up is rough. But it just means you have to place people accordingly and pretty much only when they're doing that big laser. But so it just takes some learning. But I think it's fun. I think it's cute. I'm not really a pictomancer in FF14. I may have stronger opinions if I was.
Maybe.
But I thought it was cute. I like that it makes the little palms and the moogles and whatnot.
Yeah, it's super fun. Super cute.
I will say, I feel like compared to FF14, Monster Hunter players got a little shafted because they got a lot more stuff in comparison.
What are we looking at on the Final Fantasy 14 side?
Ooh, on the Final Fantasy side, we have 2 minions, we have a Vigor Wasp spray, and then there's a baby fledgling Sacred. We
Ooh.
have 2 mounts. We have the sacred mount, and then we also have to grind for the Palico cart mount, which is so cute. And that's all I want.
Hold on, wait, you get a whole cart?
It's so cute.
With like
but, okay, let me tell you.
Do you get like 4 Palicos carrying you, or is it 2?
I think it's 2 Palicos pushing you, but I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Look how cute this little sacred is. You see how tiny it is?
Is it smaller because of your player model?
It's smaller because of me. The unveiling.
Let's go. Oh, you are small.
I am small. Do you see? I'm in pain. I'm curled up because I'm in pain. The Palicos are working
dangle.
so hard, and they're helping us. Look at them. They're so
kicking
cute.
their feet, dude.
Look at their feet.
I love them. Okay, so on the ground, if I run, can you see? Hold on, can you see?
Yeah. That's
Look
so
at them. They're
funny,
working
dude.
so hard. But here's the deal. The drop is random, and if you want to basically do the pity system to get it, you have to fight extreme ARKVELD 50 times.
Wow.
For 2 certificates, for 100 certificates total. It's rough. I have a grand total of 2 tickets now, so I'm almost there. I'm working my way.
Chipping away at it, yep.
I'm chipping away very slowly. Rathalos too, though. For the old fight, you have to work your way towards Rathalos, and I don't have that one either.
Oh, true, yeah, from the last collab.
But you get that. You get what else? You get weapons. Any weapons. There's a Guardian ARKVELD version of it. So I currently have a Grimoire for the summoner that looks really cool. It has the chain effect for Guardian ARKVELD. And then every weapon class has its own Guardian ARKVELD weapon, which is really nice. You see my weapons, Meatman? These are the ARKVELD weapons for the dancer. And then the other one I unlocked. I can unlock more to check them out, but this is the summoner one. Oh, whoops.
You got the
That was fun.
Poogie,
Look at that.
the Poogie
Look
outfit
at
on.
those.
Those look fun.
3 weapons in Monster Hunter. I'm just saying, essentially Palico servants in your house. If you have a house and you want Palicos to run things, and more stuff. I got a Mizutsune parasol, which was nice.
Dude, they really did load y'all up.
They really spoiled us, and that's also why I'm side-eyeing Capcom a little bit. Just a tiny bit, because I love you. Thank you, my overlords, for blessing us on this glorious day, but I'm just saying.
At least they improved a little bit.
They did. I will say they improved.
Because, Behemoth Extremeth, it was just Draken armor, and it was just the Gay Bolg IG. And there was also the Kinsect as well, and a couple of other things. But at least in Wilds, we got like the cute little Omega pendant that follows you, Chocobo, Sacred. We've got 2 different armor sets, 3 weapons. So like at least we're kind of eating a little bit better this go around than we did whenever Behemoth swung around.
That's true, and let's be clear, the rewards are good. They're great. In comparison.
Yeah, in comparison, it's just a little short-handed, I
just want my hunting horn. That's all I want. But overall, actually, I thought both collabs, they really did their best to give us stuff. Oh, we got new gestures too in Monster Hunter, which is fun.
Oh, true.
So love our little Manderville Mondo and stuff like that. So
for those who don't know what that's about, what is the significance of earning that specific dance after beating Savage Omega?
That specific dance? Oh, it's there's a whole quest line in Final Fantasy involving a gentleman inspector named Hildebrand, and he is a gentleman and an inspector, and that's his signature dance, and it's just a little silly thing, but that's a fun little nod to that, I suppose. And the Cactuar is also classic.
Yeah, true. That's fun. That's fun.
So I thought that was nice. That was very cute. Again, I just wanted more because I'm greedy.
It never hurts to be a little greedy. Never hurts to be a little greedy. All right. Do you have any other thoughts or any questions for me?
What did you think about the collab? As someone, because you haven't played 14, right?
Yeah, I haven't played 14.
So I do wonder if I'm biased because I obviously love both properties a lot and I have opinions on them. But I went in and just had a good time fighting things and enjoying all the goodies. But as someone who's a little more removed, and more experience in Monster Hunter. I was curious what your thoughts were with, especially the Monster Hunter collab, but even what your thoughts were about the Final Fantasy XIV collab.
Okay, I'll start off with the Final Fantasy XIV collab since I'll have less words on it. I did watch some of your stream fighting against Guardian ARKVELD, and he was using moves that he doesn't have access to in the actual fights in Wilds, which makes sense because it's a raid and, you know, they would use different things, but they also made mechanics around moves that he did have from the game. So some people are theorizing maybe this is AT ARKVELD's moves being pseudo-teased in a way.
Ooh.
So I'm actually, after watching the raid stuff, I'm actually a little excited about what they're cooking up for ARKVELD potentially. Now,
I wouldn't be surprised if they had a return. It would make sense if right before the expansion drops, suddenly Guardian ARKVELD comes back with a vengeance.
yeah,
That would be pretty cool.
that would be sick. And
We hear the theme again in Monster Hunter Wilds because we only heard it once.
yeah, exactly. It would be awesome. It would be awesome if they did that. So I thought that was cool. As far as the Omega collab goes for Monster Hunter Wilds, I think it's awesome. Whenever I was able to get to it, I streamed the fights. I had some of my boys helping me out,
That's right.
and we were we were having a good time.
House.
Yeah, we had the Steakhouse boys going to work. We were going crazy on it. We took out regular Omega first try. Naturally, it wasn't that rough, especially with like a team of 4 pretty good to cracked at Monster Hunter. And then we fought Savage.
Difficulty, schmifficulty.
Well, you know, it was the same feeling I got, you know, facing off against Behemoth and Extremoth. But the difference between Behemoth and Extremoth is, unlike the first time I fought Extremoth in a group, which was only a 3-man, unlike beating him the first try, Savage Omega took us, like, we failed like 4 times. But we got him at right after that. It wasn't a very long stream. We took him down 2 times in a row before I left for vacation. It was super fun. The music, the rate of attack, the kinds of attacks, the different the different little traps that he puts you in, the importance of tanking, and it feels like it's even more important to have people actually life powdering and stuff now than it did before with like even Extremoth. I really liked that kind of escalation. So a lot of people were worried about Omega and like, oh, his attack rate's too high and everything, but his attack rate is created in such a manner that it incentivizes someone tanking. You know, you want to have someone using enmity to keep him locked down, attacking, and that way people can start attacking his back legs where the slashing weak spots are, or you know, the front legs where the blunt hit zones are. And so like there's all sorts of different like team play mechanics to it. The attack speed's high. It's a MMO boss. You know, like it's meant to put you in uncomfortable pressure situations that you want to rely on teamwork and cunning with. It's not going to be a classical Monster Hunter fight, and for that, I really enjoyed it. These title update monsters, they're meant to be a different league. You know, not everyone's going to be able to just breeze through them or beat them first try. You know, especially the average Joes, but even like the professionals at work that play Monster Hunter for a living, they're going to see some failures as well. Omega has me pretty happy overall. Yeah, there could have been more weapons, but that's okay. A marginal improvement from the last Final Fantasy collab. I'm kind of satisfied with that. And I like the fight a lot better than Behemoth and Extremoth. Yeah, that's my feelings and thoughts on it. I really enjoyed it. I really like Title Update 3.
That's the thing. Whenever I expect every monster that comes up is gonna be harder, and that's the fun. That's the challenge, is that you go in and you learn and you fight, and you take it on, and you get it done.
That's right.
So I do like that a lot. I will say, I think generally, overall, both collabs, or both versions of the collabs were just fun. The fights were tough and quick, and you had to learn them. I think it's a mark of a good collab when it's fun, even if you don't necessarily know the property. And I worried I was biased, but I really do think it's been a blast getting to knock the pegs off Omega and Guardian ARKVELD. For
sure, that's so awesome. Thanks for coming on here, Swash. It's been a blast. It's been good to hear like the perspective of a newer fan, but that's also a fan of Final Fantasy 14 and of Monster Hunter, you're in a really like unique spot, like being new and a fan of both franchises like this. And I really wanted you on because you've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter. It's been really impressive, and it's been a blast to watch your journey through Monster Hunter as a whole.
Thank you. I've been obsessed. I have fallen down the Monster Hunter rabbit hole, but I am loving it. It is so much fun. It really is. Thanks again for having me and letting me yap about some of my favorite games.
Hell yeah.
I really do love them. It's been exciting playing these games. I truly didn't know about Monster Hunter until last year. And look where we are now.
Yeah, look where we're at now. It's so fun. That's so fun. Hey, shout out to Dweeby, your sister. That's how we met each other. You know, shout out to Dweeby.
That's right. Dweeby, my sis. She's the reason I started streaming. Blame her for everything.
Check Dweeby out too if you get the chance.
She played Monster Hunter first. And that is also one of the reasons why I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. I'll see how this goes. And here we are. Blame her, like I said.
Here we are. Yep. Shout out to Dweeby. You guys should check her out too. I'm going to link her channel as well. Definitely check out Swash once again. You guys are awesome. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys like the new format. We're trying to keep it a little bit shorter. Let me know how you're feeling in the comment section. You guys are great. Stay meaty, my friends. Do you also want to say stay meaty, my friends?
Stay meaty. Thank you for letting me be an experiment. Stay so meaty, everyone.
Stay so meaty.
The most meaty, the meatiest.
Stay meatiest. All right. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Shout out to my members. Thank you to my meatballs and my bacon bits. We finally have more than one meatball. Appreciate you, Shintos. Now we also have my head chefs and filet mignon. We got Akir, Funnaloss, Monster Hunter, Sev for short, Mr. MH, and El Mango. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys really do help me out. I know I keep saying that every single time, but I don't know what else to say. You really do help me out. I appreciate you.
I've got dinner ready. Let him cook.